everyone, it's Julie from TasteOfThePlace.com. So it's just a few days until Thanksgiving here in the US, and I have been busy planning our holiday menu. It's going to be simple and elegant with lots of the fresh flavors of the season. Now I am super excited about the dessert that I have planned, and I want to share it with you. Now, of course, we're going to have the obligatory pumpkin pie, but I wanted to make something a little bit different as well. I am going to be making an apple tarte tatin. Now, this is a classic French dessert that is so tasty, and it's really very simple thanks to a store-bought pastry puff crust. It's rustic and elegant at the same time, and it only has a few ingredients. It has apples, butter, cinnamon, sugar, and puff pastry. Now, all of the ingredients are really flexible. You can use more or less of anything. You can use any other kind of fruit that you want. It's so easy and so yummy. Now, of course, you can make your own puff pastry, or you can use pie crust if you like, or even if you happen to be gluten-free, use a gluten-free pastry dough. But if you do buy puff pastry, then please make sure that it's really good quality, made with real butter and with as few ingredients as possible, okay? So we are going to make this dish in an 8 or a 10-inch cast iron skillet or an oven-proof pan. So the first thing that you need to do is to make sure that your puff pastry is big enough to go over your cast iron pan or skillet. So I'm using an 8-inch cast iron pan here. If you're using one that's a little bit larger, you might need to roll your puff pastry out just a little bit. Then go ahead and roll that puff pastry back up and put it in the fridge until you're ready to use it. At this point, put your skillet over medium heat and then add the butter to your skillet. Once the butter is melted, then add in your sugar. Give it a quick stir just to make sure that the sugar is evenly coated by the butter, and then let that sit over medium heat until it gets hot and bubbly. Meanwhile, deal with your apples. All that you need to do with your apples is quarter them and remove the cores. You don't even need to peel them for this dish. It's so easy. Now, once your butter and sugar is bubbly and hot, and please do keep in mind it is extremely hot. I know it smells really good and you're going to be tempted to taste it, but do not. You will seriously burn yourself here. So once the butter and sugar is hot, then add in your apples, dust them with the cinnamon, and then give them a flip or two just to make sure that the cinnamon is evenly distributed and the apples are all coated in that butter and sugar goodness. Now, do keep in mind that this dish, when it's finished, is going to be flipped out of the skillet and onto your serving plate. So you want to make sure that whatever is on the bottom of your skillet right now is the prettiest side. Okay, now go ahead and leave these apples to simmer over medium heat for about 5 minutes. When your apples have had 5 minutes of simmering, go ahead and turn off the heat. Let it sit for just a moment so it's not super steamy and bubbly, and go grab your puff pastry out of the fridge, unroll it, and then very carefully, using a spoon, just place that puff pastry over the top of your skillet and tuck it in around the apples. When your pastry is tucked in all around the top, then go ahead and put it in your oven at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes. And you will know it's finished when it is golden brown and delicious. So go ahead and let this sit for just a couple of minutes before we turn it out of the skillet so it has a chance to just settle a little bit. So in the meantime, you might make up some fresh whipped cream. Personally, I like to use just the cream. I don't add any sugar or flavoring to my whipped cream. Just whip it up and you're good to go. It's super delicious. Okay, so this is the scariest part. We're going to flip it out of the skillet. So put your serving plate on top of the skillet and make sure that your hands are protected. Use a towel or an oven mitt on both hands, and then confidently and quickly in one motion, flip it over. Ah, that is gorgeous. So amazing. It's stunning. It's a beautiful dessert. It was so easy to put together, just a few ingredients. Top it now with a dollop of that fresh whipped cream or some vanilla ice cream. It will be amazing. I guarantee you, if you serve this after Thanksgiving dinner, your guests are going to be fighting for seconds. Remember, if you want more yummy Taste of the Place goodness, then be sure to subscribe to my channel on YouTube or like me on Facebook. Happy Thanksgiving.